So Donald Trump is back to talking about affordability. He's back to talking about groceries, that old-fashioned word that he's not heard in his lifetime because he's ever had to worry about putting food on his table. But now he's trying to connect with his base again because he lost the plot and because Republicans got absolutely dog-walked on Election Day. And so he realizes, hey, wait a minute, I've got to find a way to spend this. So what does he do? He just steals Mondani's act, and now suddenly he's talking about affordability. While the government is shut down, while he's building ballrooms, while he's getting marble bathrooms, and while he's having Great Gatsby themed parties at Mar-a-Lago. And I keep pointing those things out because I want people to understand that we realize Americans are suffering. We realize that people are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. And this man who promised to put America first is not doing that. He's putting Trump first. So I'm always going to drive that point home here on the channel. This administration is all about putting Trump first. And while he puts himself first above everyone else, we had the most jobs cut since 2003, 153,000 jobs cut. That is the highest since 2003, and it has been the worst year for layoffs since 2009. Plus, Obamacare prices are skyrocketing, which we all knew was going to happen. So I'm going to play this clip here from CNBC. They do a good job here of breaking down what's going on with the jobs and the layoffs, and then we're going to talk more about people's health care rising because somebody's got to do it. Donald Trump's too worried about building a new bathroom.
About the health of the job market. Steve Leisman joins us with the latest numbers from Challenger on job cuts. What's going on?
Yeah, well, this is like a clue from like a cough or a sneeze or whatever. But announced corporate job cuts, Andrew, in the U.S. surging past 1 million so far this year, with 153,000 new layoffs announced just in October, according to Challenger. That is the worst October since 2003. Here are the numbers. October up 153. That compares with September. That's 100,000 more than September and 100,000 more than this time last year in October 2024. Andy Challenger commenting, some industries are correcting after the hiring boom of the pandemic, but this comes as AI adoption, softening consumer and corporate spending, and rising costs drive belt tightening and hiring freezes. Announced layoffs don't always lead to actual cuts and could take place from attrition, but the report puts in perspective what we've been reporting here day after day, week after week. Series of marquee announcements unveiled in recent weeks across U.S. industries, including UPS, Amazon, Target, among others, Paramount, Rivian, all these companies there. Government has been responsible year to date for 308,000. But look at that, Tech 141. That could be where you see a lot of the AI, maybe some in warehousing, but a big chunk of that's going to be UPS, as well as potentially some hit from reduced flows of trade. Retail is up there, as is services at 64,000. You take out the Doge cuts, the number's a bit better at 800,000, but still well above last year. Challenger doesn't see much in the way of hiring, saying announced plans are 35% below last year, and they're skeptical about the number of new hires for the holiday season.
How many times did you hear during the election year back last year people saying, well, I sure could go for some mean tweets right about now? Well, they still get those. They still get all of Donald Trump's angry tweets and all of his ridiculous AI videos that he shares on social media and all of the ridiculous memes that he shares. So if you want a president who will encourage you to fight culture wars, one that will make you feel warm and fuzzy inside because you own the lib on Facebook, then Donald Trump is your guy. But this guy is completely clueless on how to run a country, and we knew that because we got a dose of him the first go around. We knew he was a worthless president. That's why we voted him out. And here we are stuck with him again because people really thought, oh boy, we're going to get cheaper eggs if we get Donald Trump. And now those people are still struggling harder than they ever were, but they'll feel better about themselves if somehow or another they get to one-up some liberal that they hate. And that's just crazy to me. I can't imagine living my life that way. I could find other things to get involved in. I could take up other hobbies as opposed to just sitting on my phone trying to find someone of a different political party to piss off so that I could feel good about myself. I mean, when I sit down and figure out my bills at night, I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about how to take care of my family. I don't care if I own the next door neighbor in a political argument or not, but that's all these people care about. And that's what's got us in this boat. And we've all got sick parents we're taking care of. There's a lot of us that are sick themselves that are trying to take care of themselves. And what's happening? We're seeing health prices rise, which we all knew was going to happen. And I'm not an expert and never claimed to be, but we all saw this coming. And I think that's one of the most frustrating parts about doing this day in and day out. It's like, this is what that I said was going to happen. This is what we all knew was going to happen. And the hardest part is it's not fun to bring this receipt. It's really not, because I would much rather be saying, you know what? I mean, I pretty much got that one wrong. But regardless of what Donald Trump did, I really don't care if he rained down heaven from the sky. January 6th was always a deal breaker for me and always will be. So he's not raining down anything from the sky other than higher prices and higher health care. And that's what we're getting here. So I'm going to bring this article up. This one here is from the New York Times. And again, I really appreciate y'all so much for helping me to build this platform as we head toward 1 million subscribers. But Obamacare prices become public, highlighting big increases. The government website now shows consumers how much their health insurance cost will increase next year as Congress remains at an impasse over the plan's subsidies. So, the Trump administration has released a preview of the available plans sold through Obamacare marketplaces in 30 states, giving Americans who buy their own health insurance a first look at just how much prices would go up. Insurers have increased rates significantly for next year, an average of about 30% for a typical plan in the 30 states where the federal government manages markets, and an average of 17% in states that run their own markets, according to a new analysis from KFF, the Health Research Group. But the biggest impact for nearly all Americans covered by the Obamacare plans will occur when the expiration of generous subsidies at the end of the year, unless Congress extends them. Prices on the government website healthcare.gov reflect that change using calculations based on a return to lower subsidy levels offered before 2021. The extra funding helped make insurance effectively free for poorer Americans and offered financial help for the first time for people earning more than 4 times the federal poverty level, or $64,000 for a single person. If the funding expires, costs will go up for more than 20 million Americans who currently buy their own insurance in the marketplace established under the Affordable Care Act. Most customers will still qualify for our federal help, but at lower level established under the original program. The looming expiration of those subsidies has seen a key sticking point in congressional wrangling over the government shutdown, which has lasted nearly a month. Democrats have demanded an extension on the subsidies as a condition of supporting legislation funding the entire government. Republican leaders say they will not discuss the issue until the government is reopened. About 27 million Americans are uninsured. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that their expiring subsidies will add 2 more million people to the total next year, and other analysis have estimated even larger reductions in coverage. In a news release, federal officials for the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services, the agency oversees ACA enrollment, said most people seeking coverage would still have access to plans that cost $50 or less a month, even with reduced subsidies. That price applies to the least expensive plan in the market, which often has a very high deductible. So this is what Americans are facing every day as Donald Trump builds his bathroom, and as he builds his ballroom, and as he brags about his wealth and brags about how well that his all rich elitist buddies are doing. But what I really can see happening with so many people, especially people my age, what I can see happening here is we're going to look around and we're going to go, well, you know what? I only go to the doctor once a year. I mean, that's me anyway. I go once a year for a checkup. I stop in, get blood work, do a checkup, and then as long as everything's good, I don't go back unless I get really ill. And knock on wood, I'm pretty healthy, and my doctor says so. But I can so see people like me going, well, wait a minute. I don't want to pay out all this money when I only go once a year. And then what's going to happen is one day we really are going to slam being sick, and we're not going to have the coverage we need. So those are the types of things that people like us have to sit and talk about every day and figure out. And when we sit down to figure out the grocery bill, as I'm doing my grocery pickup, I do the online pickup, but as I'm doing it, there's times where I'll say to myself, damn, we spent $100 and we still ain't really, got around to what we need because everything is that outrageous. And then it's like, well, take that off. Let's not worry about that this time. Can we hold out for a little bit longer? Donald Trump's never had to live that. These rich elitists that he hangs out with and parties with at his Great Gatsby parties, they've never had those moments. They've never had to make a sacrifice like that. And they've never had to look at their health care and see those premiums rising and go, well, I'm going to have to cut that out for a while because I can't afford that. They'll never have that. People like Dick Cheney lived to 84 years old with a mechanical heart. Do you think he would have done that if he'd lived up the holler next to you? Do you think Donald Trump eating all the McDoubles that he eats and the Big Macs that he eats every day, all the McDonald's he shoveled into his face for the last 79 years or however the hell old he is, do you think he would still be alive if he was your uncle? No. I've got so many people in my family checked out a long time ago because they lived right there on the poverty line and they struggled to get by and they didn't have the best of health care. They didn't have the best of everything at their disposal. But Donald Trump and his rich friends do. And what they do is they use people at the bottom to fight those culture wars. And yes, I keep circling back to that because I just want to drive that point home when someone goes, woohoo, I own the libs. You didn't own anything. Look at your grocery bill, look at your health insurance premiums, and tell me who got owned. To me, it's that simple. But I do appreciate y'all so much for sticking with me here on the channel. And I know that we're going into the holidays this year and there's a whole lot of people struggling. So everybody help out what you can and help your neighbor and be there for people because we have a president who puts himself first and foremost above everybody else. And so I know it's real easy to get mad at these people and say, this is what you voted for. But there's a lot of innocent people who didn't vote for this. There's a lot of innocent children who are caught in the crossfire of this, unfortunately, and don't understand what's going on. All they know is that they're not eating as good. And so just be there to help people out the best you can. And let's hope that we can get back to a time when people actually cares about the issue at hand instead of worrying about who's on a beer can or, all the other ridiculous WWE wars that the right wings loves to fight so much.